So I traveled all the way to the Bali's east coast with just one goal, and that is to dive to the shipwreck of USS Liberty, because I saw people diving in there. The shipwreck? No shipwreck? But it's here. Over there. Right. So I've been in Bali from the last 1 week or so. I started off in Kuta, and from the last 3 days, I've been exploring Ubud. But today, I'm heading east and going to a place called Amed. I don't know much about it because I've never been there before, but I've heard it's got black sandy beaches, Mount Agung, which is a volcano, and it's going to be really exciting, so I'm really looking forward to it. But first thing first, I need to get a taxi. By the way, that was a cremation ceremony. That's why these local Balinese people were dressed up in their traditional costumes. Hello, my friend. We ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so it's you and me for the next, what, 2 hours?
The next around 2.5 hours. Not traffic.
Okay.
Traffic, we'll see.
All right, hopefully no traffic. So we have arrived after, I think, 2.5 hours, even though it's like 50 kilometers, but because of the Bali traffic, and that's how things roll here. We're finally here. By the way, that over there is Mount Agung. It's an active volcano, and it's huge, as you can see. It's massive. It's been like a few days since I've been near the coast. Looks pretty cool. And this hotel is like not too far from the main road, but yeah, it's a bit off the grid, kind of. Not bad, actually. It looks better than the photos. Usually photos are hiked up than the actual place, but this is nice. And I do like the pool and this sunbeds. And I think they only got like maybe, I don't know, 10 of these villas. It's a very small place. There are proper fuel stations in Bali, but then you also see these pumps pretty much everywhere. They're pretty common, and I think it's mostly for the bikes. But if you don't want to fill it up at that time, you can actually buy them in bottles, like a half a litre petrol or a litre or two. Depends how much you want it. Yeah, so random. There are so many of these diving schools. There is a Japanese shipwreck, and I think there's another shipwreck like in the ocean. I do have plans to go and dive, but bare minimum I'll be doing snorkeling. But I haven't planned or booked anything yet because I just arrived in Amed today. So this afternoon, this evening, it's just relax, get my bearings, see what's where, all the kind of stuff. I don't know exactly how tall it is, but I do know Mount Agung is the highest mountain and volcano in Bali. And since it's an active volcano, the last time it erupted, it was around, I think, 2019. It was all over the news. The plumes went up so high in the sky, it actually disrupted flights. So when this bad boy gets angry, it definitely puts a show on. What a giant, but impressive. Now, of course, it's a volcanic island, and hence we have this black sand, which were actually the rocks, you know, came out of the volcano. Many, I don't know, thousands, maybe more than that. Long time ago, and they've been crushed by the waves, so now they're so fine, they're like sand. Volcanic ash. Actually not bad sleep. I slept in until 10 o'clock. Well needed. I was tired. But then there's a problem. And that is, I was initially thinking, because after Ahmed I was going to go to Gili Island. I still am. But the plan was to catch a ferry from Ahmed to Gili Island. Now, there used to be a ferry, but they've, I don't know, closed it. Probably it's not as popular. Not many people. So now I have to go to Padang Bai, which is like 2 hours by road, and then catch a ferry from there to Gili. So not too much of a stuff around, but yeah, a little bit. But that's okay, that's traveling. Things happen, things change, and you just accept them and move on. Wow, looks very clear. Hello, mate. Hello, mate. When I was talking on the camera, he was doing his head tilts. Yeah? What's your name? So that's good. I mean, I wouldn't go on one of these bikes. I don't know, they just look too cute for me, but the option is here. So you can rent the bike, the helmet and the lock for $50 for 1 day. Surprising enough, they're actually lending the motorbikes for the same price as well. Little bit more, maybe 70. You know, these faces, they kind of remind me of Jeju Island in South Korea. They got so many of these. I think they call them something, I forgot. Remember I was talking about how you can buy fuel in the bottles? Yeah. See, they are normal water bottles, like clear, but because the petrol color is like bluish, so that's what it is. Wow, it's a recipe for a blast. There is a cylinder down there. There's a petrol in this very flimsy thin water bottles, and sun blaring. Wow, this one looks pretty cool. Like in hindsight, I would have booked one of these, have an ocean view, but where I am, it's not bad either. But this is like super close to the beach. A boat just pulled in, that one there, and there was a group of people. They just went under the water. I think they're diving to the shipwreck, because then there are also 2 people there that's coming back, I think. So this must be one of those shipwreck diving sites. I just saw a group of people coming out of water. More than likely they were doing snorkeling or some diving perhaps. And maybe I just talk to the staff here and see if I can book my trip for tomorrow. Hello. Do you snorkeling?
Yes.
How much is it?
How many people?
Just one. Hello.
How many? Oh, you want people?
For tomorrow?
Tomorrow? 450 for one.
For one?
Yes.
There's no group?
Not at group.
No group?
And I have boat shop
A boat as well.
in the green.
Right. How far in the water?
War is called Lipa and Jamalom.
Oh, what's here?
No, so clean.
Because I saw people diving in there. The shipwreck? No shipwreck?
No, the crab not good, not so clear.
But it's here. Over there.
In the
Right.
5 kilometers.
Okay. So I spoke with this guy and he said the Japanese shipwreck is not very clear. He said some reason, but I don't know, maybe the water just stirred up or something. But there's also coral fish, and they call it pyramid, but it also looks like a little temple, some structure in the water. But I don't know, I have to think about it because I really wanted to see the shipwreck. That was the main goal to even come to Ahmed, actually. Okay, so as usual, a bit of change of plans, but really exciting plans. This plan is much better than what I actually planned. But before that, this is what it's called, Jolly Best View Cafe. Not too far from the town center. Town is just over there. And we're gonna be enjoying some cold beverages, perhaps dinner, and enjoy the sunset view. And I'll tell you this good news. I'm stoked. Wow, these seats looks pretty comfortable.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
If you need something, you just press the button call over here, yeah?
Got it. Thank you so much. I got two. You can judge me. But by the way, so what's happening is I was talking to this guy about this Japanese shipwreck, and he said the visibility isn't the best because the ocean is stirred up at that part. But he recommended I should consider diving to this another shipwreck, which is even bigger, and it's USS Liberty. So I booked this trip, and it's a diving trip instead of snorkeling, which I was trying to plan. And this shipwreck is sitting, I think the deepest point is 30 meters, but there's a catch. The instructor said this morning the visibility was, I think, maximum up to 10 meters, but he is hoping that tonight the ocean will calm down and visibility is supposed to get better. But that's nature, we can't, there's no guarantees, but all fingers crossed. And I'm hoping that if I get to do this dive at this USS Liberty ship and the visibility is amazing, my trip to Ahmed will be a success. So let's hope that happens. Cheers. That's why I ordered two. By the way, these are these are the new Bintang Radler, it's called. And they are like 2% alcohol. They almost taste like lemonade. Wow, but look at this. So amazing. And Mount Agung, the volcano here, he just plays hide and seek, because sometimes you can see it so clear from the street, and other times it's like almost like it's not even there because of the clouds. Because such a massive volcano, it can actually affect the environment around it. Crazy. So I traveled all the way to the Bali's east coast with just one goal, and that is to dive to the shipwreck of USS Liberty, which sits 20-25 meters off the coast and probably 30 meters deep into the ocean. Now I've heard this is one of the best diving sites in Bali. However, as you can see, the ocean looks a bit angry, and it's been like this from the last few days. But today, the staff thinks it could be the day. So if with any luck I can pull this off, this could be the highlight for not just the Ahmed, but also my 2 weeks whole Bali trip. So wish me luck, fingers crossed. And we need some blessing from the ocean. Look at that. That's the shipwreck, right?
Yeah.
And this is the bow,
Yeah.
and that's the stern.
Done.
How long it is?
120.
120 meters. Wow, that's long. So now story time. So how on earth a US ship ended up in Bali? Well, for that we have to go a little bit back in the history. So USS Liberty was actually a cargo ship, and it used to carry all this logistics, ammunition, horses, food during World War I and World War II. I think just during the end of World War II, it was carrying cargo from Australia to one of the US bases in Philippines, when unfortunately it got torpedoed down by a Japanese submarine. It didn't sink at the time, but luckily there was a USS destroyer accompanying it, so they towed it and brought it to the closest point, which is here. And when they beached it, they looked at the damage and they realized the damage is too much, so they decided to just leave the ship on the beach. But it's not really on the beach, is it? It's like 20-35 meters off the shore. For that, we can blame Mount Agung. So in 1980, when Mount Agung erupted, and it did what he always does, he gets really angry, he, throws some plume out, and he also shake the ground. So with all these mini earthquakes, the Liberty slid off the beach and ended up 20-30 meters in the water, where it sits since then. Parallel to the beach, which is really lucky for us or the divers, because we can go and explore and have this kind of excursion. But it's also really good for the fish and the coral, because it works as a accidental man-made reef. But I think we can give that credit to Mount Agung. Overall, really good trip. Thank you for your help, boys.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Lucky day.
So that's all for Ahmed. Now I know the visibility wasn't the best, But at least I got to dive to a shipwreck, so I'm happy. In terms of snorkeling, I do have a better place in my mind, and that is exactly where my next stop is. The place is called the Gili Islands. There are 3 islands off the coast of Lombok, not too far from it. Maybe 2 hours on a fast boat from Padang Bai. And it's not a usual spot for snorkeling because, yes, they have all these pretty looking fish, coral, all the kind of stuff, but they also have these sculptures in the water. They almost look like a scene from a lost world. And believe me or not, there is actually a Vespa scooter in the water. So that's going to be all in the next video. As usual, I would love for you guys to join it, and you know how to do that. I'll leave you guys to it, and I'll meet you in Gili. Beautiful islands. By the way, one last glimpse of Mount Agung, the giant. And the moon is right bang in the middle. Stunning.